Hello, welcome to the Edmonton Journal, Edmonton Sun World Cup Roundtable. We'd like to thank you for joining us. We talking all things World Cup in this roundtable. My name is Derek Van Diest. So, very exciting weekend. I guess first off, let's start off talking about the big game that we saw Monday. England pulls it out. Start with you, Lauren. Just must have been just nerve-wracking watching that game and thinking, England's going to be England again.
Well put. I mean, it is the most, England of all England, what we saw today. Just you cannot go into it with any other expectation other than that, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be nerve-wracking, it's going to be stressful, it's going to be all those things, and you never know how it's going to go. And luckily, today in the, in stoppage time, they were able to pull off a win. But you have no clue. They start strong, 4 minutes in strong, and then 55 poor. I mean, it's just, you never know. It's what you live with being an England supporter.
They should have been up 3-0 10 minutes into the game.
Oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? I mean, just a game full of missed opportunities for sure. They should have, I think, wiped the floor with Tunisia in that game, but they didn't. So very much so, just a classic England matchup in the World Cup and what we come to be used to. But at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points, and we'll take it. So
this team comes into the World Cup. I was in Brazil 4 years ago, and they crashed out royally in the World Cup. They had an awful turnout. But this team, there's a lot of promise on this team, this young English team. Why is that, you think? Why is there so much more promise and, I guess, enthusiasm towards this England team than maybe some teams in the past?
I think maybe it's probably, I would say, a bit of a generational thing. I mean, I've grown up with this team. England was in my blood. My mother is from Great Britain. I didn't have a choice growing up as to who I cheered for better or for worse. And you had certain expectations of a team like England. And I think a little bit of that when you bring up Brazil in 2014 and the abysmal performance that was, the bottom of their group. I mean, I think people now have a little bit of a different expectation of England, and maybe it's not as high as it used to be, which is good and bad, I guess. But I think the expectations have sort of, lessened a little bit, and you see this young generation, these super young guys that were playing in the game today, for example. Yep. And I mean, I think there's a bit of rejuvenated hope, but not, we're not too much, So yeah.
Let's go back, I guess, to the weekend. And Yuri, Australia, obviously from Australia, a big fan. They were literally inches away from tying that game. The winning goal was about an inch over the line, another inch. It hits the line. It's not a goal. But what were your impressions of your Australian side?
What's really interesting is for so many years, everybody's been talking about, goal line technology. Let's bring in goal line technology. So we bring in goal line technology, and then this happens, and everyone goes, no, we don't want goal line technology. It was better than it was expected. Yeah. We were expecting, multiple goals, and it didn't happen. Australia played really good defense, but this pool is a tough pool. Yeah. And they may have looked good. I mean, Matty Ryan, was it Matty Ryan? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the goalie. Yeah. What a stellar job. I mean, he was just pulling them out from everywhere. So, I mean, so that was good. I just don't see them going, against Peru, even Peru, guys, and Denmark. I mean, Denmark's next. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Well, had they been able to hold on and pull out that point, that would have been changed probably the whole dynamics of that group, I guess. But going forward, I guess, you need a result now. You need to beat one of those two teams, Peru and Denmark. Yeah. You don't think you don't think it happened?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, that's honest. I mean, you just got to be honest about this. Yeah. I mean, we've really struggled. I think in the times that we have made the World Cup, we've made the round of 16 once. Yeah. Right. And then we got cheated by Italy. We're never going to let that go in Australia, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that we have developed a lot of young talent, but we're still hanging on to there's 3 or 4 guys in that team. Tim Cahill, exactly. We kind of look to them. It's going to be tough. Let's put it that way.
Let's move on to Germany and Mexico. And I got to be honest with you. Last time I saw Mexico play a meaningful game was at the Copa America 2 years ago, and my team Chile, who didn't qualify, beat them 7-0. And I looked at this Mexican team and I'm like, the Germans are going to wipe the floor with these guys based on that game that I saw 2 years ago, because it was essentially the same team, just 2 years older. Jamie, what happened?
I don't know. I think you look at Germany, and they are 4 years older. They have pretty much the same core. I think if you look at Hummels in defense, he looked like a log out there. He was quite slow, and when Mexico was trying to counter, and then you had guys like Chicharito running at him in the last minutes there. I thought it was going to end 2-0, 3-0 for sure, but I think they kind of got the tactics wrong. I thought they were probably going to press a bit high and play them that way, but they definitely sat back and played the counter, and it just played it in their hands for sure. Mexico, I think they definitely got it right with offensively, and the goal they scored was a quality goal, and then just kind of kept control from there. And I mean, Germany kept pressing, but they just couldn't find their way past it. So,
Yuri, what's been your biggest surprise of this tournament? Is it that game, or has there been another surprise that you've seen and you thought, wow, I didn't see that coming at all?
Well, I was really hoping that England was going to lose. I'll be honest. I'm sorry. I mean, but
as the way I live my
as
life.
an Australian,
as an Australian, there was no way I could show support for those guys.
Yeah.
There was one over the weekend. It was the Brazil-Switzerland.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge. For the Swiss to be able to do that, to be able to to get out of that game with points, with a draw, that's huge, and I think that has big implications for their group as well. Other than that, the Iceland-Argentina game.
Yeah.
Another huge game there.
I think just to add on that, not even just Brazil not getting the win, it's the fact that Brazil didn't get the win, Germany didn't get the win,
Yeah.
Argentina didn't get the win,
and even Spain too. You got four huge teams there that are sitting on 0 points or 1 point, so they got some work to do. I think every one of those teams kind of has to look at their next two games like these are must wins. So I think that was the big surprise for me, that none of those teams were able to get 3 points. So.
Yeah. Well, so far the game of the tournament has been Spain-Portugal. That was a fantastic game, back and forth. I actually thought they were just going to play, for the draw, 1-1, it'd be fun. But they actually went at each other. And Ronaldo, I think this is going to be Ronaldo's tournament. I really do. I think he's going to win the Golden Boot. I think he's going to be the tournament that he takes his team by the scruff of the neck and leads them to where they need to go. Now, we'll start with you, Lauren. Just what did you think of that game? And just what did you think of Ronaldo's performance in that game?
Oh, what can you say about that game? He's the player that everybody loves to hate on, and the only reason you could have hated on him in that game is because of how damn good he was. He just was so impressive. Those goals were out of this world. It was a fantastic game to watch, every minute of it. I think when you compare it to what you were just talking about the Iceland-Argentina game, you look at Messi, and unfortunately it just wasn't his day, and he couldn't grab a hold of anything in that game. And then you see Ronaldo in Friday's game, and I mean, what an amazing effort for sure. I think you're absolutely right about the Golden Boot. Excuse me. Yeah.
Jamie, what'd you think of that game?
I was surprised a bit on De Gea letting that one in, which is unfortunate from one guy who's considered to be the best goalkeeper in the world, and that was a bit of a squeaker for sure. He's going to want that one back, but. You knew when Ronaldo stepped up for that free kick, it was going in the top right corner. Yeah. So it's becoming pretty standard for him. I think, like Lauren said, with Argentina, just in the battle for Messi versus Ronaldo, I think edge to Ronaldo for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we were all in the newsroom. I don't know if you were in the newsroom here, but the minute that free kick was called, the minute that Portugal won that free kick, everyone in the newsroom just came over and stood in front of the television because they knew something special was going to happen. They knew he was going to bend that kick in the corner. I guess, just what were your impressions of that game and just Ronaldo in general?
You know what? I'm going to skip Ronaldo. I'm going to go back to Argentina. I want to go back to Messi. Yeah. Like Messi for me is that guy that we all want him to lift this thing at some point, right? This is probably going to be his last chance, right? And the thing with that is the people that he's being surrounded with. Like he doesn't have those players that can get him to those positions to score. And that's telling. That really is. And you look at the guy and he's running around, he's doing his best, but there just seems to be that lack of talent there. Well, not lack of talent, but lack of talented players like Messi.
No, you're absolutely right. I thought it was very unfair for some of the former Argentine players saying Messi's not Maradona. He can't win a World Cup by himself. Maradona did not win a World Cup by himself. That team in '86 was a fantastic, outstanding team. You take Maradona out of that equation, that's still a fantastic team. He had a fantastic team around him, so I just thought that was fair.